Hi guys, this is Mrs. Barquero, and today we are going to look at how we form the present tense of regular verbs. Okay, we are going to do it in the context of what do we do in our bedroom. Okay, that's why the title is ¿Qué haces en tu dormitorio? Our learning objective is going to be, can I identify the present tense and use expressions of frequency? And our more challenge objective will be, can I conjugate the present tense of regular verbs? Okay, so I'm going to take you through this presentation, and I would like you to pause when you need to reflect on something I've just said, and also to complete some of the activities that you will have as we go along. Okay, so a little bit of grammar recap. To make the present tense, what we need to do, first of all, is we have to take the infinitive of the verb, okay, such as hablar, comer, or escribir, and we need to knock off the endings, okay, so that's the AR, ER, or IR endings of the verb. Therefore, we will be left with hable, in the case of an AR verb, come, in comer, and escribe for the IR verb, okay? Then, the second step is we have to follow, to add the following endings, okay? So, it is a little bit complicated. I know it looks complicated, but the more we try to do some practice with it, the easier it becomes. And all the red bits that you see in each are the different endings. So, for example, for the verb hablar, which is a regular verb, is an AR verb, yeah, I add an O for the I form of the verb. I add an as for the U form of the verb, the U singular. Okay, for the she or the he or it, I would an a, so it's habla. For the we form of the verb, we say hablamos, so we add amos. For the you plural, when there's more than one person we're talking to, is habláis. And for the they form of the verb is hablan. That's for the AR verbs. For the verbs that end up in ER, the endings are slightly different, okay? And for the IR verbs, the verb endings are also slightly different, okay? I would like you to have a look at that and just try to identify some patterns. For example, what do the I form have in common? You're quite right. All of them, in the regular verbs, we chop the verb ending and we add an O. Okay? Maybe you can look at the we form of the verb and there is something that all the verb endings have in common. For the you plural as well, and so for the they. Okay? Right. Okay, so having looked at that, would you be able to conjugate a verb estudiar, for example, or the verb leer? Okay? I would like you to spend a bit of time, maybe stop the PowerPoint and the video and try to do them by yourself. Look at the verb ending and see which column will you have to use for the verb endings. Okay? Now, obviously we're going back to the progress and what's our objective during this lesson, and literally we just want to identify a present tense and also, if possible, be able to conjugate the present verb, the present tense on all the verbs. Okay. To have a little bit of practice, we will need to know how to say a number of verbs in infinitive. Okay, so I am giving you the 8 verbs in English, and then you have the 8 verbs in Spanish in the yellow form, and I would like you to spend a couple of minutes trying to match it up. Okay? If you like, stop the presentation and try to do it. Okay, I'm going to start giving you the answers, okay? So, for the first one, to play, depends what we're playing, okay? So there's 2 verbs to use for this English word, okay? We can say jugar when we're talking about sport, okay? For example, jugar al fútbol. Or we can also use the verb tocar if we're talking about an instrument. So if I want to say to play guitar, I will say tocar la guitarra. Okay? The verb to do is a verb hacer. Okay? Hacer is also a verb that we use for certain sports, those sports that don't involve a ball. Okay? So for example, hacer atletismo, to do athletics. Hacer natación, to do swimming. Okay? To speak, we all know about that one, okay, is hablar. To watch, if we're going to say to watch telly, for example, yeah, we will use the verb ver, okay. To read is the verb leer. To surf, we're using this verb just to say to surf the internet, yeah, to go on the internet, okay. So we will use the verb navegar. The verb to send in Spanish will be mandar. So, for example, to send messages will be mandar mensajes, okay? And then another one, we usually do something like this in our bedroom, is to sleep, okay? So, dormir, okay? Now that we have all these infinitives, we're going to play a little bit with them, okay? I'm going to show you some pictures now, and I want to put all those pictures in the I form of the verb, okay? So remember, you have to chop off the verb ending of the infinitive and add an O. Then on the second stage, we're going to make 3 sentences using frequency time expressions. For example, a veces, nunca, todos los días. And I'm giving you an example there. En mi dormitorio, a veces escucho música, pero nunca veo la televisión. Okay? So let's start with the first one, okay? The first task. So I would ask you to now stop the presentation and try to label those pictures, okay? I also have to say that the last 3 pictures, okay, the verbs are slightly irregular. So I'm going to give you the answers very shortly. Okay, off you go. Right. Let's start with the answers now. Okay, so for the first one, I would say veo la televisión. Remember the verb is ver. This verb is slightly irregular, okay, because really in theory we should have taken away the ER, but then it will be like bo. So we are keeping the E in there on the first person of the present tense. So veo la televisión. Okay. The number 2 would be hablo por teléfono. Number 3 will be escucho música. Number 4 will be navego por internet. Number 5, leo libros. Okay. Number 6, mando mensajes. Number 7, toco la guitarra. Number 8, juego con el ordenador. I'm sorry, you can see ordenador there. Okay. Number 9, hago los deberes. And that's why it's got the asterisk, is because it's slightly irregular. Okay. It's only irregular on that first person there. Hago los deberes. Okay. And last one but not least, duermo mucho. Okay. And it's a little bit irregular as well in the stem of the verb. Okay. Very good. Okay. So now I want you to look at those and I want you to do as a challenge to write at least 3 sentences and add a time phrase like the ones you have on the right hand side. Okay, so you have siempre, a veces, todos los días, y nunca. Okay, I'm gonna remind you of the meanings of those time phrases. Okay, so off you go. You've got them there in English. Okay, so siempre is always, a veces sometimes, todos los días every day, and nunca never. Okay, so to give you an example, for example, I could say, siempre hablo por teléfono con mis amigas. Sin embargo, nunca mando mensajes. Okay, I want to ask you now to put this video on a stop and try to write at least 3 sentences in your own time. Okay, thank you. Okay, now I'm going to give you another verb in the present tense. There is a few irregular verbs, but this one is used so much that I thought I will mention it briefly in this presentation, okay? So it's the verb to go, which in Spanish, the infinitive is the verb ir. It's a very, very irregular verb, and I am giving you the deformation of the verb, okay? So, yo voy means I go. Tú vas, you go. I'm speaking just to one person, okay? So it's to the singular version, okay? Él o ella va is he or she goes. Nosotros vamos is we go. Vosotros o vosotras vais is you go when you're speaking to more than one person, okay? And ellos and ellas van means they go, okay? This is one of those verbs. It's very irregular. It behaves completely different to the others, and you're just going to have to learn them by heart, okay? I am going to give you another choice of 3 activities to do, and I want you to choose your challenge, okay? They go on in difficulty as you move on. So the activity A is the easiest one, where you're just going to have to match up the Spanish to the English that goes next to it. Obviously, they're not in order. You have to find the right verb, okay? The second activity, you have to translate those 6 sentences. And the third activity, are all 6 sentences, they are wrong, and you need to find what's wrong with them. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to put the video and stop again, try to complete your activity, and when you finish, you carry on playing the video and you'll have the answers for the 3 challenges. Okay, and these are the answers. Okay, you have them all in green. Let me see if I can move this because you can't see it in there. Okay, there are your answers. And then finally, as a last challenge, I am going to give you this grid in here. Usually it's the hardest bit to do from English into Spanish. So you have there 9 sentences to translate. I would ask you to maybe give yourselves 6 minutes and see how many you could translate accurately. I will ask you again to stop the video, try to complete it in 6 minutes, time yourselves, and once you finish that, or as much as you could do, then you can just have a quick look at the answers that are coming on the next slide, okay? And here are the answers. Okay, well, I hope you have enjoyed this quick lesson. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to get in touch with myself or with any of the teachers, and we can take you through the process again. But the main thing to bear in mind is that you need to learn those verb endings by heart. There's no other way around it. And maybe you can make a little note on the side of your book and use them as often as you possibly can, just to try to remember them. Yeah, the key is practice, like everything else, all right? Okay. Muchas gracias por escucharme, chicos. Hablamos muy pronto. Adiós.